Hey, hey. Yeah, today is hay day. Well, I'm gonna have to interrupt this intro because although I am gonna talk about hay in this video, I've also got a story for you about this particular hay and a state trooper. I quit putting up my own hay several years ago. I've got to where I just buy it. It seems to be just as cheap, if not cheaper. It's a big time saver for me. Work around the weather and my work schedule. So today I've got a guy bringing some hay. We're going to put it up in the loft. Hopefully I can get the loft filled up today. We'll see how it goes though. Hey, it's Richard at Circle P Farms. I finally got my hay up here in the loft. This is actually a couple days later after getting it up here. Now my intention was to take samples of this hay so I can get an analysis on the nutrition level of it and know how I need to feed it. I like to do that while the hay's still on the trailer. It makes it a little easier to get around and get a good sample of all the different bales. I wasn't able to get the hay probe. I get that from my local extension office. They'll let me sign one out and use it. But I wasn't able to get that in time to do it on the trailer. So now that the hay's in the barn, I've got to try to climb around in here and get a good sample of different bales. What I don't want to do is go through and look for specific bales. Ones that look pretty good, ones that maybe don't look so good. I just want a good sample of all of them. And what I'm using to get the sample with is a hay probe. I get this from my local extension office. Like I said, they let you check one out for free. It's got a good cutting edge on it here to cut into the bales of hay. And the way this works is you just tie a gallon sandwich bag on here. I put a couple of zip ties around it to keep the thing from falling out. I'll hook a drill to this end of it and spin this in and cut into that hay. It will get full of a good core sample. And I take this ramrod then and just push that out into the bale. Hopefully without cutting my finger. And once I get this bag full, then I've got a good size sample for the lab to use and give me the analysis that I need. Now I'm sampling the small square bales, so you do want to make sure that you take your sample from the end of the bale. You want to cut across all that grass and hay. If you're doing big round bales, you want to go from the side that is the round side that's wrapped, so you don't just get a small sample of a particular spot in the field. You want it to be as diversified as you can. probably going to take a week or so to get the results back on this hay testing. So be sure and subscribe, get the notification bell and that kind of thing. And I'll be sure and put a video out telling you just how this hay tested and what I'm going to have to do to offset any deficiencies that it might have. Well, if you're a subscriber to my channel, thank you. And if you're not, well, I'd appreciate it if you would. But if you've watched very many of my videos, you know that I work a full-time job off the farm. What I do here is not what I do every day. Well, I want to tell you a little story about this hay that I got and a state trooper. One morning I was driving to work after I'd got this hay, and I was running a little bit behind. Before I knew it, I was driving, well, a little faster than I probably should have. Nothing ridiculous, but it was faster than I should have. Well, this just so happened to be one of those mornings that a state trooper decided he'd like to talk to me. And I don't know why they seem to want to talk to me when I'm in a hurry and don't really have a lot of time. You know, when I've got plenty of time, they don't ever stop me to talk. But I don't know why that is, but that just seems to be what happened. Well, I came around this little curve, and there he was. And he pulls in behind me, and next thing you know, he signaled that, you know, he'd like to stop and have a little chat. I really didn't have a lot of time, but I tried to be friendly, so I pulled over, rolled my window down, turned the lights on and dome light and everything because it was dark. Well, he came up to the window, introduced himself, and then he wanted to see my driver's license because I'm sure he just wanted to, you know, he wanted to know who it was he was talking to. He was trying to be friendly too. He didn't want to call me by the wrong name or anything like that. I appreciate that. Well, I got my license out and I handed it to him, and he asked me a strange question. One I really wasn't expecting. He said, "Are you a farmer?" Well, I mean, it kind of took me by surprise, but I said, "Well, yeah." What was going through my mind is, why would he ask that question? I was driving a little car that I drive back and forth to work. I didn't have a hat on. I didn't know of any sign there that would indicate that I was a farmer. But he asked me, you know, "Are you a farmer?" I kind of chuckled a little bit and shrugged my shoulders. Said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, there's a little bit of hay stuck to your license." I said, "I've been there and done that." And he just said, "Hold on a minute, I'll be right back." So he took off, went back to his car, and I don't know what he did, whatever they do back there in their car. He come back out, handed me a piece of paper, just warning me that, you know, it'd probably be a good idea if I'd slow down a little bit, and I appreciate it. He's just looking out for everybody's best interest. He gave me my license back, and, well, that was kind of the end of it. Well, I guess that probably ought to be the end of the story, but, you know, I got to thinking about that, and it just, I don't know why, struck me as odd, him asking that question, that piece of hay stuck to my driver's license. And I was just like, well, how did hay get on my driver's license? Then I remembered that there was a young fellow come over and helped me get the hay up in the loft. And when we got done, I got my wallet out and I paid him a little bit for helping. I really appreciate it. Then I got to thinking about that a little bit more. And, you know, I guess while I wasn't paying attention, while I had my wallet out, a piece of hay fell down. It was just a little piece of hay, wasn't much. It fell down into my wallet, and I closed it up, and somehow it stuck to my license. And it just so happened the next day, I'm talking to a state trooper, and he lets me out of a ticket because I got a piece of hay stuck to my license. I got to thinking about that some more, and you know, that's kind of how God works. I'm not saying God got me out of a speeding ticket, which maybe he kind of did, but I didn't know the hay fell into my license. I didn't know I was going to get pulled over by a state trooper who's a little sympathetic to somebody that's been putting up hay and then trying to go to work the next morning. But you know, that's the kind of little blessings that God gives us all the time that we probably don't even realize he did it. A piece of hay stuck to the driver's license saves me a ticket. Well, I think God does that kind of stuff for us all the time. He does little things that we don't even know about, we don't think about, and it's pretty easy to brush it off as just kind of coincidence or something. But now, how coincidental is that? A piece of hay falls down into my wallet while I've got it open, sticks to my driver's license. I get pulled over by a state trooper the next day, one that is sympathetic to a guy who's been putting up hay and then going to work before daylight the next morning. It's just a little something to think about when, you know, things happen to you, little things that maybe don't seem like much. You know, God's up there watching all the time. He's looking out for us. He really is. Just make sure you give him thanks when he does. Hey, it's Richard at Circle P Farms. Hey, it's Richard at Circle P Farms.